My daughter asked her stepfather to walk her down the aisle, so I left the wedding early. Apparently, I was wrong for that. I feel if I'm not good enough for that moment, I'm not staying for cake. I never thought I'd be writing something like this. Honestly, I didn't think it would bother me this much. But the more I replay it in my head, the more the anger and hurt swirl together until I can't tell where one ends and the other begins. I'm 52 years old. I've done my best to be a good father to my daughter Lily, who just turned 27. Her mother, my ex-wife, and I divorced when Lily was 12. It wasn't a messy divorce, at least not at first, but she remarried pretty quickly after we split. Her new husband, Dave, entered the picture when Lily was about 13. He's always been friendly enough, polite, helpful, always had that good guy aura about him that people just gravitate toward. Lily seemed to warm up to him faster than I expected. I mean, I get it. He was there in the house with her, while I got weekends and every other holiday. I never blamed her for that. I always told myself that as long as she was happy, that's what mattered. I never missed a recital. I showed up to every parent-teacher conference, every soccer game. I worked overtime to help pay for her college tuition, even when money was tight. I wasn't perfect. No one is. But I tried. I thought I mattered to her. Fast forward to last month when Lily and her fiancé, Ben, announced their wedding date. She asked me to help with the costs and I agreed. No hesitation. I ended up contributing about $10,000 to the venue and catering. It was a big chunk of my savings. But this is my daughter we're talking about. I wanted her day to be perfect. And then came the conversation. 2 weeks before the wedding, Lily called me. Her voice was awkward, like she was rehearsing something. I assumed it was last-minute planning stress, but then she dropped the bomb. Dad, I wanted to tell you that I've asked Dave to walk me down the aisle. I thought I misheard her. Dave? I laughed at first. Had to be a joke. But she didn't laugh back. Silence stretched on the phone like a thick fog. Wait, you're serious? I finally said. Yeah, she replied. I feel like he's been there for me a lot and it felt right. I sat there stunned. What about me? I asked. What am I supposed to do during that moment? I was hoping you'd do a reading during the ceremony, something meaningful. A reading. So after decades of being her father, paying for half her wedding, and supporting her through everything, I'm supposed to stand off to the side and read a poem while Dave, the guy who stepped in when she was a teenager, gets the honor of walking her down the aisle? I hung up the phone that night, feeling like I'd been sucker punched. I debated not going to the wedding at all. Friends told me to suck it up for the sake of peace. My sister said, it's her day, not yours. Don't make it about you. And maybe that's fair, but doesn't it say something about how she sees me? I decided to go. I figured I'd at least make an appearance and show some class. I wore my best suit, put on a smile, and tried to ignore the pit in my stomach. Then I saw it. There was Dave, arm in arm with my daughter, walking her down the aisle. Her face was beaming. Guests awed and took pictures. Dave looked proud. Hell, I would have too if I'd been in his place. But I wasn't. I was sitting in the third row, clutching the folded paper with the reading she assigned me, feeling like an outsider at my own daughter's wedding. After the ceremony, I congratulated her, hugged her, and said, "Beautiful wedding, Lily." She smiled and said, "Thanks, Dad." Like nothing was wrong, like she hadn't just gutted me. At the reception, I sat through the speeches. Dave gave a glowing one about how lucky he was to be part of her life. Her mom beamed with pride. I sipped my drink and kept glancing at the exit, my stomach twisting tighter, and when it came time for my reading, I declined. Politely. "Sorry, I'm not feeling up to it," I said. Lily looked confused but didn't push it. That's when I decided. I wasn't staying. No first dance, no cake cutting, no forced smiles. I congratulated the groom, whispered a goodbye to my sister, and left. No scene, no drama, just me walking out alone into the cold night air. 2 hours later, I got a text from Lily. "Where'd you go? You just left?" I didn't reply. I didn't trust myself to respond without saying something I'd regret. Now, a week later, family is blowing up my phone. "You abandoned her on her big day," my ex-wife scolded. Dave texted me, "Hey man, didn't mean to step on toes." Lily's messages are a mix of hurt and confusion. "I thought you understood. I wanted you there. You didn't have to leave like that." But what was I supposed to do? Sit there and smile while being sidelined? Pretend it didn't feel like a slap in the face? Part of me thinks I should have just sucked it up and stayed. Another part, the louder part, is still raw with hurt. I'm her father. That moment should have been ours. Now she wants to meet for coffee to talk things out. I don't know if I should go. I don't know if I can sit across from her and not let my anger boil over. Family's divided. Friends are divided. Hell, I'm divided. Was I wrong for leaving? Am I just being petty? Or did she cross a line you can't uncross? Update. I wasn't planning to update, but the outpouring of opinions, both online and from my family, made me realize I wasn't as ready to let this go as I thought. Some people called me selfish. Others said I did what any father with pride would have done. Honestly, I still don't know where I land. So here's what happened after I left the wedding. Lily texted me repeatedly that night. Anger, hurt, confusion, her messages were a roller coaster. I wanted you there. You made it about yourself. How could you walk out on me? I didn't respond. I didn't know how to put my feelings into words that wouldn't just ignite another fight. 2 weeks later, after she returned from her honeymoon, she asked to meet for coffee. My sister urged me to go. Be the bigger person, she said, but I wasn't sure what that even meant anymore. Wasn't being the bigger person supporting her on her wedding day? Or was standing up for myself the right call? Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her. I told myself I'd listen. When I walked into that cafe, she was already seated, tapping her foot nervously. Her wedding ring sparkled, a cruel reminder of what brought us here. Hey, she said quietly. Hey, I replied, stiff. We sat in awkward silence for a moment before she broke it. I just don't understand why you left like that. I told you Dave walking me down the aisle wasn't about replacing you. I let out a humorless laugh. It felt like it, Lily. You asked the man who married your mother, while I was still picking up the pieces of our family, to take the moment I thought was ours. She looked down at her coffee. Dave's been there. Day to day. You lived in another city. It just felt right. Right. I swallowed the lump in my throat. I paid for half your wedding, Lily. I showed up. I tried to be there. But you chose him for that walk. That was a choice, and choices have consequences. Tears welled up in her eyes. I thought you'd understand. I do understand, I shot back. I understand I wasn't the father you wanted standing next to you that day. I'm not angry about Dave. I'm angry that you didn't think it would hurt me. Or worse, you knew and you did it anyway. Her face crumpled. I didn't mean to. Intent doesn't erase impact, I cut in. You wanted me there for the party, but not for the moment that mattered. Silence again. People around us sipped lattes, scrolled their phones, normal day for them. For me? It felt like my heart was cracking open. Lily finally whispered. So, what now? You just cut me out, I sighed. I don't want to cut you out, Lily, but I need space. I need to figure out if I can move past this. Right now? I can't. Her lips trembled. I don't want to lose you. I wanted to say you should have thought of that, but I didn't. I just stood up. I'll reach out when I'm ready, and I walked out. That was 2 weeks ago. No contact since. My phone's been quieter than ever. Family's split. Half says I need to forgive and forget. The other half says Lily made her bed. My sister is furious. You're punishing her for a decision she thought was best. Let it go before it's too late. But what about me? What about how I felt standing there, third row at my daughter's wedding, watching another man take my place? Dave sent me another message last night. Didn't mean to cause drama, man. Just wanted to be there for Lily. Hope you guys work it out. Shit's easy for him to say. Lily's friends are posting wedding photos on social media, smiling faces, champagne toasts, and me? I'm not in a single picture. Like I was never there at all. Do I regret leaving? Sometimes. Do I think I was right? Also sometimes. Do I miss my daughter? Every damn day. But her pride isn't easy to swallow, not when it cuts this deep. Should I reach out? Should I let her sit with her choices? Part of me thinks if she really wants to fix this, she'll try harder. Another part just wants my little girl back. Final update. It's been about a month since I last spoke to Lily. I honestly didn't think she'd reach out again, not after how things ended. I spent the past few weeks oscillating between anger, regret, and sheer emptiness. I kept wondering if I was being too stubborn, or if standing my ground was the only way to make her understand how deeply I was hurt. Then last night, my phone rang. Her name lit up the screen. I stared at it, heart pounding, thumb hovering over the answer button. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but something in me just knew I had to pick up. Her voice, shaky and hoarse. Dad, I'm so sorry, she choked out. I didn't get it. I really didn't, but I do now. I do. I didn't know what to say. My chest tightened. What changed, Lily? I asked, my voice softer than I expected. Through sobs, she explained that she'd been struggling since the wedding. The silence between us had weighed on her and she had been venting to her husband. Apparently, one night, about a week ago, they had been lying in bed, talking about how everything had gone. And out of nowhere, he asked, if we have a son, and at his wedding, instead of having a mother-son dance with you, he asked my sister because she was involved in his life. How would you feel? That's when it hit her. She told me she just sat there, stunned, as the weight of what she had done finally sank in. She had spent so much time trying to make sure everyone else was comfortable. Her mother, her stepfather, even the guests. that she never stopped to consider what it would mean for me, the man who raised her, the man who never left. Her husband wasn't angry, he didn't shame her, he just asked her a simple question, one that forced her to sit with her own guilt. "Dad," she whispered, "I thought I was making a decision that was easier for everyone. I was wrong. I see that now. And I hate that it took this for me to understand. Please, I just want my dad back." God, those words. I just want my dad back. We talked for an hour, maybe more. She didn't defend herself, didn't make excuses, just owned it. Fully. That mattered more than I can explain. But here's the truth. Forgiveness isn't a light switch. I can't pretend it didn't hurt. I can't act like things are instantly fixed. So I told her the truth. "Lily, I love you. I always will. And I want us to find our way back. But I need time. I need to rebuild the trust and the closeness we lost. I can't promise it'll be like before. But I'm willing to try." She broke down again. "I'll take whatever you're willing to give, Dad. I just don't want to lose you." And honestly, neither do I. Sometimes people don't realize how deeply they've hurt you until you walk away. Sometimes you don't realize how much you value someone until they call you crying, asking for a second chance. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm open to seeing where this road leads.